Hey friends, it's Palidore and welcome to the video. Before we get started, just a couple things. Who's this video for? Well, this video is mainly for less experienced players, not necessarily brand new, but players who know a little bit of what they're doing but are just trying to figure out ideas to take their game to the next level. So what I mean by this is I'm not really covering the basic fundamentals so much as some of the mental aspects that go into playing a game of Echo Arena. So what I mean by this is decision making and field positioning and recognizing one's mistakes and fixing those mistakes, things like that. So if you're here looking for the sauciest high-level gameplay with full court passes and half-court shots and teams acting like well-oiled machines, you're probably in the wrong video. Those ones will come later, but this one, I chose this game specifically because it's a solo queue quick match game that was, quite frankly, ugly at times. But you know what? That's kind of the point, because there were places where we could point out mistakes and learn from them. Anyway, that said, let's get started. Okay, just a couple seconds into the game, and already a little bit of a mistake was made here. I failed to get the regrab on my teammate as he passes by because he's a little bit too far to the left to grab. Now, although this could have been fixed by me just turning around before he had launched, the much better solution is you always want to practice launching through the center of your teammates' bodies anytime you're launching off of a teammate. In other words, if I'm launching off of a teammate, I'm pulling myself through the middle of their chest or their head area. That way it makes it super easy to get the regrab on them as they fly right through my field of vision. By doing this, you get rid of the guesswork, and you're also able to really quickly daisy chain regrabs with teammates in order to get a whole lot of speed in a very short amount of time. But because we did not do this, we end up losing the joust. With the disc being cleared to our side of the arena, the priority is now getting back to our goal area as quickly as possible. No time for brawling, I just need a quick push boost to get into better position. Although I do recover on time, the enemy is able to make a really nice duck move, and I'm at his mercy as he goes right off the backboard for the goal. For this launch, I communicate to my teammate that I'll be going to the right side to hopefully open myself up for a pass. He does get the pass off, but unfortunately it takes a bad bounce into a tube heavily guarded by the blue team. Turning around and finding a blue player relatively stationary on my feet, what I want to do in this situation is look at him, boost with the left stick, and physically lunge forward for a punch. Now notice that the entire time I'm chasing down this disc, I'm looking right, left, and behind me in order to gauge the threat levels with both my eyes and my ears. So right here I make a silly mistake. I already know that the area surrounding me is relatively safe, yet instead of being patient or backing off and getting a better look at the situation, I decide to make an aggressive move and then make a pass towards a teammate who's not only freshly stunned, but isn't looking for the pass. We lose the disc as a result, I get punched in the face as punishment, and the blue team gets a free disc near our goal. I quickly take defensive position inside the goal to hopefully deny the three-point shot if nothing else, but Dexter is able to make an identical duck move except from the left side this time, and make a goal off the backboard once more to punish me for what I've done. This time around I decide to take the reins as quarterback for my team, grabbing the disc first. Right here, my teammates decide to both launch down the middle on offense. Now, this isn't an inherent problem, but just be aware that if it's not communicated beforehand, it could be easy for the disc grabber to accidentally auto-grab his teammates instead of the disc. That's bad. After grabbing the disc and seeing that there's no imminent threats on me, I decide to be pretty patient with it. I'm waiting for my teammates to kind of split off and get open for a pass or something first, which they do, and we execute. As the disc gets loose here, I'm getting into a more forward position to decide whether I need to back off or chase the disc. Now I see two blue players have retreated towards the goal, putting us at a number advantage up front, so I make my move. We do gain possession of the disc, but unfortunately are crowded and forced to throw it into the goalie's hands, who then clears it. With the disc being cleared and our entire team on the wrong side of the arena, my priority now is to turn around immediately and look for someone to boost off of. And here is where you'll see one of the biggest, most important, yet unwritten rules of Echo Arena being broken. That is to say, when two teammates are trying to grab and launch off of each other, it's the teammate who's in front in relation to where they're going that gets boost priority. In other words, if player 2 is trying to catch up and grab onto player 1, this usually requires player 1 slowing down first. This in turn wastes both players' time because it takes time for player 1 and his boosters to get back up to acceptable speeds. But by giving player 1 launch priority, that means player 2 can continue flying through at maximum speed while player 1 grabs him for the quick grab and boost. Unfortunately, we end up grabbing each other here, botching the boost and allowing the enemy team plenty of time to recover the disc, whereas if we had followed that rule, we'd probably have gotten there first. But needless to say, the enemy is able to recover the disc here and ultimately score on us, but not before waving it in front of our faces a little bit. So back in the launch tube, I decided to take the reins as quarterback again and go for the disc. So my teammates decide to launch the left side, and I clear it really fast as I see the blue team coming at me lightning quick. In this situation, I could have gone for the boost, but because I had 2 blue players with me on the wrong side of the arena, an even better idea was just to hang back and try and punch their lights out. If you can keep 2 enemy players distracted on the wrong side of the court, that puts your team at the 2v1 advantage. Of course, this doesn't always work out, but the idea was sound. Okay, so we're down 8-0, the game's half over, the situation looks bleak. That's okay. I decide to take quarterbacking duties again as my teammates head down left and middle and take a little time to survey. So I see my teammate there open for the pass, I do a little dipsy-do on the blue player, and it actually puts us in perfect position for a 3-on-1 fast break. Our teammate in the goal did a great job of pressuring the goalie and punching him at the right time, giving us the chance for our first points of the game. Alright, so remember what I said about teammates launching through the middle of each other? Nailed it. Now at this point I see blue team maneuvering right, so instead of continuing forward I back off just in an attempt to cut off the line of sight between the blue player and the goal. What I didn't see was the blue player creeping around at my back. Now, I was able to block him, but unfortunately it was enough distraction to give blue team a chance to get the really unusual bank shot off the top right wall. The score, 10-2. Alright, back in the driver's seat now and ready to take the disc on offense. Now, I want to pause it right here. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's that sometimes it's okay to be patient. Get in the habit of taking those split seconds between the action to survey the threats and determine what your next move should be. Echo Arena definitely is a game about fast-paced action and instinct, but other times it's also a game of chess. I decide to push up on the blue guy here just to ensure that my pass gets through, which it does, but it does end up taking a weird bounce here on the pass and into the hands of the blue team, unfortunately. Take notice though that throughout the duration of this entire chase down sequence, I'm trying my best to survey the situation, looking behind me into the sides constantly to decide what I need to do next. Once my teammate gets the disc, it's now my job to just protect him because there's plenty of blue guys around and I'm just trying to brawl and ensure that he gets a pass or a clear off, which he does. Even though blue team was able to recover the disc here, he was under enough pressure from my teammate down court that it forced a pretty quick clear and I was able to chase it down right here. Pause. We're back to the theme of the day of patience. After nabbing control of the disc and taking a quick turnaround, I take that split second to analyze. I've got 2 blue players whose attention is about to be completely focused on me, and 1 teammate cutting down there on the bottom. I take just the extra half second to draw the defense in before dropping off a soft pass to my teammate. He does briefly lose sight of the goalie, however, who's able to slap it out of his hands, and now it's just a mad scramble for the disc. As always, I take that split second to analyze. I know my teammates are open over on the right side, so I just throw a soft pass in their general direction. They're able to grab it and score, bringing the score to 10-4 with about a minute left. Back in the tubes, I'm launching first again and hoping to re-grab one of my teammates as they fly through the middle of me. Now I do manage to do this, however it may have been my mistake because my positioning was really aggressive. I missed the blue players completely, and had I stayed back a little bit, that probably would have been an easy recovery for me. Nonetheless, I was able to get a quick little snag on the disc here, and with a teammate at my feet, I was able to grab him and boost off. Now, I did not boost through the middle of him directly, but in this case, time was a priority, and I felt like I'd be able to get to the disc first, regardless if he got the regrab or not. So I did manage to do that and score off of it, making the score 10-7 with about 42 seconds left on the clock. Definitely wasn't the finest play on my part, but it could have been worse.
If you guys get stuck back there, boost off each other back.
So after what had happened last time, I'm opting to not be quite as aggressive on this launch. I ignored the regrab completely and just placed myself on the bow tie islands in the middle of our side of the floor.
Oh no! Behind you, behind you! 30 seconds remaining.
I do miss the potential grab here, but luckily the shot goes astray. Pause. Now if you blinked, you missed it, but what I did here was grab the disc and immediately push myself off of the blue player who was next to me. What this did was create space, but more importantly created that split second of time that I needed to analyze the situation. But with 3 blue players right in front of me and the clock rapidly winding down, my best bet is to just clear it and hopefully recover. Now I do make a mistake of not looking for the boost off of my teammates, but luckily it works out again. With the disc being cleared again, I was just trying to punch who I could and then get an immediate grab on any one of these guys who flew by. But I whiffed. Now although we do get the disc and manage to shoot the shot, it was sadly a 2-pointer, which means the score is 10-9, in Blue's favor still, with only 4 seconds left. Yeah.
4 seconds? Alright, we need no velocity.
Indeed. Here's a look at the stats screen if you're curious, and even though it ultimately ended in a loss, I think for the purposes of this video, it was still a great learning tool. It was a really good showcase of not only what you can expect in your typical quick match, but just kind of the decision-making process and the error correcting that just goes into minute-to-minute, moment-to-moment play for me, and the kind of play style that at least I've found some success with. And again, if there's one thing I want you to glean from this video, if you're a newer player or an up-and-coming player, it's that once you're past that initial learning curve of learning to move effectively and how to shoot and things like that, it's the stuff like brawling and boosting and passing and all that nuanced decision making. That's the stuff that really determines how far you go as a player. And it's not like you have to be great at all those things, it's just you have to make good decisions. Whether you're on the disc or off the disc, make sure you're always moving with a purpose. Anyway, I think that'll do it for me in this video, but I really, really hope you guys got something good out of this. If you did, let me know. If you want to see more videos like this, also let me know. It's hard to tell sometimes, but yeah, I appreciate you all watching and hope to see you guys in-game kicking some robot tail very soon. See you later.